All I hear is talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. But she be down the ride, oh, I bet that. Ooh.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is JH. How y'all doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Everybody crisp? Is everybody Let's talk. Mr. Dejoy, that seems to be the topic of the week. Mr. Dejoy is going to tell everybody in this video what his plans are. And you see, I realize that nobody has the patience to listen to the 3 hours of foolishness except for me. I listened to it in the shower. I listened to it while I was going to work. I listened to it in the truck. I listened to every little section and realized there are a few sections that, like I said before, will apply to us and they have pertinent information. This little segment is going to detail how he plans on doing his consolidations, what they mean, where he's cutting funding, what departments he's cutting funding from, etc., etc. It goes from the motor vehicle operators, from transportation. He breaks down his vision. Please be open when you listen to this because he's telling us exactly what he wants to do. From that, what does he say, 400 down to 60, units. He explains which ones will be closed, how they're not going to get closed, etc. So it's a longer clip than the others. So please, give your opinions behind it. And like I said, I'm not going to really give too much context because people complain too much. I can't, I love you guys, but there's always those that just complain. I don't know. But I did do diligent, at least to give you a little bit of context in the beginning, so you know what you're in for. Hopefully this is helpful to some people, exchange some information with each other, and let's rock, baby.
The distinguished gentleman, the chairman of the full committee, Mr. Comer, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Postmaster General. It's good to see you here today. I know we talk often. We've talked often over the past year and a half. We've come a long way, and really what I consider one of the most, if not the most, bipartisan accomplishment last year in the Congress, certainly in this committee, and that was passing the postal reform bill. As I said then, and I'll say it again now, I think you're the right person for the job. You've taken a lot of bullets, and it's a tough job. It's a big bureaucracy. You do something that no one in the private sector wants to do, and that's deliver the mail 6 days a week to every single address in America. I'd like to talk about one of the centerpieces of your plan has been the network modernization. And with respect to your plan, you're the only Postmaster General since I've been in Congress that even came up with a plan to reform. The last your predecessor always talked about a plan but never came up with one. I like to remind people about that. But one of the centerpieces of your plan is the network modernization. Now that, as I understand it, involves constructing large facilities in urban areas and running your network from that through a smaller number of facilities. Could you help me understand what the benefit of this will be in terms of savings, manpower needs, improved performance, et cetera?
Yes, sir. So first of all, thank you for your leadership and partnership in passing the legislation. It was a really wonderful thing to be a part of and long overdue, so I thank you for your leadership. Right now, when we look at national distribution, we move mail and packages to 420 different locations that have been haphazardly put together over the last 15 years. We want to, and that disaggregates mail, it creates 55,000 trucks a day that run across the country, 30% full, and plus we were flying a lot of air, doing a lot of air. So we're collapsing this, we're aggregating this into 60 locations, converting those other locations. If there were contractors, insourcing a tremendous amount of work. But at the end of the day, we had $10.6 billion transportation budget. I plan to get $3 to $4 billion out of that. Okay. We have significant amounts of adjunct labor, not non-productive labor in these accessorial places, and a significant amount of overtime. I plan to get $3 to $4 billion out of that. And then there are other types of operations. Our local transportation to feed our delivery units has not been addressed in 40 years. It's different. We're going to fix that, and there's a couple of billion there.
With respect to the facilities that will not be used, what are you going to do with those?
So I have not adequately articulated that this is not a consolidation. We have built up a number of leased annexes over the in contractor sites, and took little functions that could not fit in an existing plant and put them in there, right? Those are the places that we're closing out. All our postal facilities, I'm investing significantly in, bringing them back up to, to stay putting the right equipment in them, redoing employee amenities. We have 226 locations that local processing centers that will be fed from these 60 processing centers. And then we're going back to all these plants that were closed down over the last 10 years and reinvigorating them and putting out sorting and delivery centers in. And we're modernizing the way the distribution needs to be today for the cubic volume that we move, right? Today, 65% of the cubic volume we move are packages. It's not little letters. Yet we still run the place like we're moving letters, and then we rehandle all the packages. So that's what we're trying to redo. It's pretty, actually, I wish I could say it's ingenious. It's not. It's obvious. Right?
And with that, this is my last question, and feel free to take all the time you need to answer it, because I think it's an important question. The Postal Reform Act that we passed provided you with an infusion of cash, and we changed some of the liability that was strapped on the post office. This was, in my opinion, the last-ditch effort to try to put the Postal Service in a position to where it can do what it's supposed to do, and that's be self-sustaining. Now, with mail volume continuing to decline, how do you see this moving forward in the future to where we can get to a position of self-sustainability within the Postal Service? Because I've been on record many times, I support the post office. My colleagues on the Republican side, we all have, concerns with certain aspects of the Postal Service. But as a Democrat member mentioned, it's very important in rural America. And no private company wants to deliver mail 6 days a week in rural America. So what's the future with respect to the fact that we're going to continue to see declining mail volume? How can we get the Postal Service to where it's in a position of sustainability to where Congress will not have to infuse any more cash in the future?
How much time are you going to give me?
However much time the chairman will allow.
So just for, and I certainly appreciate your help. I just want to be clear. From my standpoint of coming in and changing the organization and what cash became available and what was being infused into the organization, the PSRA did not give us an infusion of cash, right? We hadn't paid that liability in over 10 years, right? It just kind of straightened out the old legislation, and in fact, it pushed what we were obligated to pay to 6 or 7 years from now, right? We'll eventually go to a pay-as-you-go system. So that's what I'm racing. If we get back to a pay-as-you-go system, we're going to have a big problem if we don't make these changes that we're making, that we're trying to make right now. As you know, and this was a contentious issue on the bill, an integrated mail and package network, right? There's two things. There's two inefficiencies within the Postal Service. The inefficiency of how we run the place, which was all over the place. We got to fix that, right, and get at it. And there's a lot of money there. There's a lot of better working conditions for everybody that works there. I mean, who would have put together a process that handles 25 million packages a day by hand? By hand, right? So these are the things that we're fixing. We'll root out those issues. There's a lot of money there, as I described, but the mission is still inefficient, right? That's the other inefficiency, the mission. We can deliver to 163 million addresses where they have one piece of mail or 10 packages and so forth. That we have to, that we have to do, and we commit to do it, but we have to do that efficiently by moving packages and mail together, aggregated network as was in the bill. We will leverage our costs, leverage our conveyor system to every address. That will produce better margins in overall performance, and I believe we can become the preferred delivery provider in the nation and garner a good part of the package business, be the greenest thing, from an environmental standpoint. And I don't believe the American people want 50 trucks running up and down their neighborhood streets, even in rural America. That if we grow our package business, which we are, I think that is I need to get $2 to $3 billion of package revenue, get these costs out that I identified. I need to do it quick. And I think we're close. We're close to solving these things. Now, there are other areas. We have a lot of unfunded mandates. We brought up the retirement thing and so forth. This is not a walk in the park, but it is close, and I will be able to tell you what exactly operationally is too costly to do, and we might have to come up with something else on that part. But we're full steam ahead on trying to get this done. And my hope is our regulator, the Congress, gets out of our way, because this is a crisis, and we need to move. And taking surveys from every opinion, as our regulator wants to do, on what it is that we should do, and flooding our airwaves with proven methodologies that have not worked in the past is not helpful.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.